to give it a ride. And watch Nelson, because he is an explosive return man. And the 84 season is underway. Nelson at the 3. He'll bring it out. And he is rolled under there at the 20-yard line. The first man to him, the outside linebacker, Woodrow Lowe, with help from John Turner, a man who, during the preseason, left the Minnesota Vikings for San Diego. Tommy Kramer, and this has to feel awfully good trotting back onto a football field after what that man went through. Surgery during the season a year ago. Darren Nelson, Ted Brown, and there are the congestion busters, Jordan LeCount in white, the offensive line, Riley Rouse, Fouts, and Tim Irwin. And it is a patched offensive line at best. Kramer will put it up, pressured. It is right over the middle, and it is his tight end, Steve Jordan, a first down at the 30-yard line. Mike Green, second-year man out of Oklahoma State, drops it. San Diego defense, much maligned over the last several years, and rightfully so. The 3-4 Johnson, for the first time in his career, is on the left side. Ackerman and Ferguson has gone to the right side. The linebackers, King, Green, Billy Ray, Smith, Woodrow Lowe, Bird, Walters, Young, and McPherson, the defensive back. San Diego, you'll recall, a year ago, started 4 rookies in the defense. Play action, Kramer again. Out of the pocket. And running him down is Keith Ferguson, fourth-year man out of Ohio State. He was certainly the Chargers' top defensive lineman a year ago, Reggie, but that isn't saying much in the San Diego organization.
They're expecting Keith Ferguson to give them that outside pressure on the quarterback. Pass protection begins and ends. Pass offense begins and ends with pass protection, and Kramer must be kept clean. They must keep the on-rushing defensive line of the San Diego Chargers off of Kramer so he can do what he does best, pass the football down the field.
It is third down and a little more than one. Scores New England, leading Buffalo Bills 7-0 first quarter score. Sammy White is checked out. The Vikings go with the 2 tight end formation. Steve Jordan and Don Hasselbeck is now in the ball game. Fumble. Loose ball. Flag is down. I think the Vikings recovered it. The ball spotted across the 30-yard line, enough for the first down if the penalty is against San Diego. It is holding against Minnesota.
Here it is. This is very critical early on because centers and quarterbacks have to spend a lot of time together perfecting this very exchange, and Kramer does not get the ball. There are a lot of helmets flying in there.
Left guard, offense, still third down.
Curtis Routes recovers the fumble. Curtis Routes holding. As a matter of fact, that's a procedural change this year in the NFL, and it was suggested by NBC coordinating producer director Ted Nathanson.
5 defensive backs for the San Diego Chargers now on third down and 11 from inside their own 20-yard line. 3 wideouts for the Vikings. Sally White, Mike Jones, and Terry LeCount. Chargers now with 4 down linemen. They go to the nickel defense. That's Jones in motion. Kramer up in the air, intended for the tight end, and it is knocked away. Andre Young, the strong safety, rolls up and took it away from Jordan. 4th down, a punting situation, and Greg Coleman will trot onto the playing field.
All right, here's a look at what you want to see from the defensive point of view. Watch the people inside around the 30. See how tight they are on everybody. That's because they have not been exploited deep yet. Once they do, the congestion busters will make their presence felt.
Penalty against the offense, holding, decline. Coleman on. Back deep. Little Train, they call him. Little Train. Lionel James. Boy, in the preseason, he lit it up for San Diego on kickoff returns. Not much to speak of in the punt return department. 10 men on the line for San Diego. Coleman, not a good kick. James has got it. And he is in the Viking territory at the 46-yard line, and he is down by Jim Huff, the center. Good block by Cliff Griff that sprang James for a 12-yard return. Clock stops, 13:05 to play. The Chargers will get their first look at the football in 1984. Welcome back to the Metrodome. Bill Stone and Reggie Rucker. Early first quarter. Vikings stalled San Diego with their first look at the football. Dan Fouts, that is Wes Chandler in motion. Quick release, Winslow, flea flicker to Chandler. The Chargers taking a play right out of the Dolphins playbook of 1981 in that memorable playoff game. Big yardage for San Diego here. First play of 84 to the Vikings 22-yard line. And this is the explosive offensive unit for the Chargers. Fouts, Pete Johnson, Chuck Muncie. The Busters, Winslow, Joyner, and Chandler, and they've got more on the sidelines. The offensive line, Clapham, Wilkerson, Mason. Muncie to the 20-yard line, shy of the 20, and he is banged down there. Dennis Johnson, fifth year out of Southern Cal, is there. Minnesota Vikings a year ago, defensively, a good ball club, not a great ball club. 5 consecutive games, this defensive unit held opponents to 17 points or less. Doug Martin, Charlie Johnson, Mark Mullaney, the line. The linebackers, Sunderline Johnson, Studwell McNeil. The backs, Swain, Hannon, Joey Browner, and Willie Teal. In motion, Sievers. Fouts will put it up. 5. Unloads end zone. Touchdown, San Diego. Oh, what a catch by Wes Chandler. And the man he jumped over was Willie Teal, fifth year out of Louisiana State. And Reggie, you talked about the congestion busters. There is one of the premier men in the league at doing just that.
This very play epitomizes the athletic gifts of Wes Chandler. Fouts looking around, just lays it up there because he knows of the athletic ability of Wes Chandler. Chandler fights for the ball. A receiver should never give up. If he can't get it, don't let the other guy get it. But Wes Chandler, what a great player.
Ralph Bonerska is on to try and make this a 7-0 San Diego ball game. From the hold of Ed Luther, it is perfect in San Diego with less than 4 minutes expired, and the 1984 National Football League season is on the board. 11 minutes, 39 seconds to play, and watch Fouts. He'll do it all year long when he's healthy. A touchdown pass to Wes Chandler. We'll be back to the Metrodome in a moment. Ralph Bonerska is on to kick it away for the second time in this ball game. San Diego. 3 minutes, 21 seconds into the season. 7-0 over the Vikings. Here's the kick. That's Nelson. Scampering to the near sideline. He's got it at the goal line. And he crashes across the 21-yard line, where he is hammered by Reuben Henderson.
You know, Wes Chandler did something that was so... Well, I mean, it's the thing that an experienced receiver has to do. The receiver actually wants the ball in front of the defensive back like this because the defensive back does not know where the receiver is. See, he's expected to catch it. Boom, Wes Chandler's there suddenly, and that's the way you have to do it. Quarterbacks and receivers understand this. That's what you call being on the same page.
There was a game 2 years ago, Reggie, the place Candlestick Park against the 49ers, when Wes Chandler did that 3 times in the ball game. Just came right over the top of the defensive backs. And Kramer and the Vikings down 7-0. The pitch to Ted Brown as he tries to sweep right. He's across the 25-yard line and knocked down there by Gary Johnson. Philadelphia leading the Giants 3-0. Paul McFadden, a 47-yard field goal for Philadelphia. Atlanta, a field goal over New Orleans, early first quarter action. From 38 yards out, it was Nick Luckers. And Kansas City leading the Pittsburgh Steelers at Three Rivers 7-0. Second down and 5. That's Brown in motion. Kramer airing it out. And it fits number 23, Danny Walters, a new shoulder pad. And a flag is down. Pass interference against Walters. Now, the thing you have to understand about pass interference, if they're saying Walters screened him out is Walters has to wave both hands in the receiver's face. Let's listen.
Interference, number 23, defense, first down.
Well, Walters, as you'll see here, I think bumped LeCount. There's the throw from Kramer. Now let's take a look at it. There's 80 on your right, and there's the contact made by Danny Walters, number 23. You can't do that.
For the Vikings, from the 41-yard line, a first down. Steve Jordan has been joined by Mike Malarkey, number 86, a double tight end formation now. Darren Nelson out of the ball game. The lone running back is Ted Brown. Brown has the ball, sweep right. Young giving chase. Finally knocked out there by Gilbert, second-year corner out of San Jose State, with help from Andre Young. Reggie, you talk about the Chargers starting 4 rookies on defense a year ago. Now Gilbert, Danny Walters, Mike Green are second-year men. Is there much emotional difference being in your second year?
Well, I think, Phil, the emotion notwithstanding, the biggest difference, there's less settle there. The biggest difference is that you're more confident of what you're doing, you understand the system, and it gives you the ability to express your talent.
Second down and 5 from the 36. Kramer tripping. Unloads quickly. It is caught by Steve Jordan. Andre Young, with help from Billy Ray Smith, wrestled him down inside the Chargers' 28-yard line. A first down for the Minnesota Vikings.
And so far, we have been able to see that this patchwork offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings is doing an outstanding job in giving Tommy Kramer time to pass. And if they continue to do that, the Vikings are going to move the ball very freely.
At the 28-yard line, Rick Ackerman has gone back in as the Chargers' nose tackle. Darren Nelson, the running back for Minnesota, out of the ball game. Again, 2 tight ends for Minnesota. That's White in motion. The give is to Nelson. He creases the 24, near the 23. What a block by center Jimmy Huff.
Take a look at the offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings. Center Jimmy Huff right there makes the good block. There's Darren Nelson. Ted Brown.
To the 23-yard line. Now Nelson is back in the ball game. It is Nelson and Brown. Nelson splits way out to the right. LeCount, Sammy White to the bottom of your screen. The give straight ahead, and he is submarined there by Bill Elko. New England, Steve Grogan, a couple of touchdown passes, leading Buffalo 14-0. Chicago leading Tampa Bay 3-0. Bob Thomas from 29 yards out for the Bears. Third down here, 7 yards to go. The Chargers with 5 defensive backs. Kramer with 3 wideouts. Leo Lewis is now in the ball game, 4th year out of Missouri. That's Sammy White in motion. Kramer short drop. Goes to White, who clears it out and cannot hold the football.
Well, they're telling us here in Minnesota that Sammy White is on the hot seat. That means that Mike Jones is pressuring him to play that position. And I felt that a veteran receiver like Sammy White would be hard to dislodge at this particular time, but maybe the pressure is affecting the concentration of Sammy White.
Well, Terry LeCount, Reggie, and Steve Jordan took the Chargers' defensive secondary deep, and that is why White was so wide open. Here's Jan Stenerud, the oldest active player in the National Football League. From 41 yards away. It is good. And Stenerud, 339 career field goals. Clock stops, 7:46 to play. It's San Diego 7, the Vikings 3. San Diego leading Minnesota 7-3. We are halfway through the first period. There you see Ernest Jackson and Lionel James. And it'll be Lionel at the 2-yard line having trouble holding on. Now comes up with it. To the 23-yard line and dropped there. Robin Sendline with help from David Nelson on the tackle.
Lionel Little Train James, Marvin University. What an exciting young player. Teamed in that backfield with Heisman Trophy candidate Bo Jackson at Auburn.
And Auburn just continues to turn out the little guys. You look at Cribbs. There's William Andrews with the Atlanta Falcons. They've got another one there this year, a fellow by the name of Bo Jackson. Here's Muncie, sweep right. Out in the backfield, gets away, back to the line of scrimmage, and dropped there short of the line of scrimmage. Tremendous pursuit by the Vikings defensive unit.
Take a look and see where this play fails. There's the pitch to Muncie on the outside. There it is right there. Number 75, Doug Martin, a holdout, one of the finest defensive ends. And 75, Randy Holloway, one of the finest defensive ends that the Minnesota Vikings has, makes a very nice play.
Doug Martin, who was tripped up trying to get to Muncie, is down. Martin just came back to the Minnesota Vikings about a week and a half ago. He reported late because of contract woes. He's a man the Vikings can ill afford to be without. He led the team last year in sacks with 13. So the Chargers face now a second down and 13 from their own 20-yard line.
Usually in this situation, the Chargers like to throw the ball to a back and let him run for yardage.
There's Chandler in motion. Fouts right over the middle. That's Severs to the 32-yard line across the 33. A first down for the Chargers. Fred McNeil with help from Rufus Best brings Severs to the ground.
All right, the concept is the same. You throw to a man underneath. You see the defense stretch deep, and you're looking for a zone in there. There's Severs now. Gets the ball. Now run for the first down.
And the man Severs got behind was Fred McNeil, 11th year out of UCLA. Chargers with a lone setback now. That's Muncie. Play action. Fouts right over the middle, in and out of the hands of Eric Severs. Certainly a catchable ball.
Same kind of concept with the play that Fouts just ran. He's using the threat of a Wes Chandler on the right side of your screen to take the cornerback out, and he's running Severs right under the defense, and Severs does not make the catch. Inconsistency there.
Word on Doug Martin, the left defensive end, a twisted net. He's recuperating. We will see Martin return. Second down and 10. Martin is now back in the ball game. That's Kellen Winslow in motion. Muncie sweep right. Now turns it up. Oh, look at what Muncie can do for you. To the 45-yard line and down. Boy, for a man as big as Jeff Muncie is, Reggie, he can stop on a dime.
Well, some call him the best package of speed and power in the league today. And look at the cut that he makes there right up the middle, and people are looking for someone to block. There's Ed White, 67, a 16-year veteran, and Kellen Winslow. Kellen wasn't blocking anybody.
A first down at the 45-yard line. Dan Fouts, finally healthy. A rotator cuff a year ago, a broken wrist. Short drop. That's Chandler. Good block by Severs, but Chandler takes it outside into Minnesota territory, out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Right now, an update. Let's go to New York.
All right, Phil, this is Bob Costas at our NFL 84 studios. Moments ago in Buffalo, Steve Grogan throws his second touchdown pass of the first quarter. Derek Ramsey on the 3-yard reception. It's 14-0 Patriots. They beat the Bills twice in '83. Might be on their way to a victory on the road today. Back to Phil Stone.
Thank you very much, Bob Costas. Boy, that is good news for New England Patriot fans. He's a team that folks around Foxborough think an awful lot of here in 1984. Fouts on 2nd and 5. Almost intercepted. Ron Swain, who had 6 interceptions a year ago, was in an ideal position to pick off his first in 1984.
Well, this is why they need Kellen Winslow. Pete Holohan's a fine tight end, but he does what we call short arm. Look, he doesn't go for the ball, really. He's concerned about getting hit. Kellen Winslow, fearless in that situation.
Good point. There's Kellen Winslow. In case you have just joined us and did not see NFL 84, the word is Kellen Winslow will play in today's ball game and then retire. He's going home to St. Louis. Third down and 5. Holohan in motion. Play action to Muncie. Fouts pressure. Reads the blitz. Winslow has the ball. Dives to the 44-yard line. Enough for a first down for San Diego.
Extremely smart call right here. Fouts knows that the Vikings will be coming hard. There's Kellen losing himself in the pack, coming out, takes the ball. Now he wants the first down, looking and finding his way, just gets the ball over the first down marker. Smart play.
There are some in the Chargers organization, Reggie, that believe if, in fact, Kellen does hang it up, the Chargers can succeed with all of their weaponry.
You know what I say to that? Rub it.
I agree with you 110%. The single most dominant man in the National Football League. A first down at the Vikes 44. Muncie tries the left side. Bob Cobb had a hold of him behind the line of scrimmage, and Muncie ran right through him.
There was some action down there which suggests that Muncie may have fumbled the ball, but at any rate, the Vikings recovered.
Gain of 2. Check that gain of 6. Second down in 4 yards. There you look at Chuck Muncie. Chuck Muncie and Pete Johnson. And their NFL careers, how about 141 combined touchdowns? There's Ernest Jackson on his feet. A first down inside the Vikings 33-yard line. Scott Studwell, 8th year out of Illinois, rolls him down. Miami rolling at RFK Stadium. Marino to Art Duper, 26 yards out. And at the Silverdome in Detroit, Billy Sims on a 2-yard run has sent the Lions out in front of the Niners 7-0. And the Giants leading Philadelphia 7-3. And how about this score? New Orleans 7, Atlanta 5. New Orleans, George Rogers from 3 yards out. And Kansas City leading the Steelers at Three Rivers 7-3. Clock stopped here at Minneapolis. 4:10 remaining of the first quarter. There you look at first-year coach Les Steckel, a man who reputation has certainly preceded him as head coach here as the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, he has a very militaristic outlook upon professional football, despite, as some of his players have said, that this is not a life or death situation.
Muncie back in on third down and about 6 inches. That's the chucker. To the 30, still on his feet, and finally brought down by Scott Studwell. Tommy Hannon gave him a little help. Kellen Winslow, what a block he threw. You talk about what Winslow can do for you in terms of his sheer pass-catching abilities. You talk about what he can do in terms of his speed. When it comes all around athletic prowess, there are few in the league that can rival number 80.
That's right, but injuries are a problem with Chuck Muncie. That's why the acquisition of Pete Johnson.
First and 10 at the Minnesota 30-yard line. That's Holohan in motion. Holohan, crossing pattern, has it. Dives to the 20-yard line, close to still. Another first down. McNeil and Hannon bring him down. Clock stops. Let's go to New York for this update. Bob?
All right, Phil, moments ago at RFK Stadium, Dan Marino drops back. He's looking for Mark Super Duper, who makes the 26-yard touchdown catch. You'll see a flag, but it was on the Redskins, so the score holds up. Against NFC teams, Don Shula's Dolphins are 36-8 through the years. Phil?
Thank you, Bob. Boy, that is a tussle at RFK Stadium today. We have not seen the last of scoring there, you can be sure. 2:39, 2:38 to play first quarter. That's Muncie. Inside the 20, down near the 17 before he is rolled down there. Mark Mullaney was in there. Scott Studwell was there.
Sometimes you have to utilize a play such as this, just straight-on blocking, and the offensive front wall of the Chargers, Clappin at left tackle, Wilkerson the guard, Masick, McKnight, and Ed White. All they do is fire out ahead to apply some pressure with just brute strength.
2:21 to play. Second down and 1, San Diego at the 17-yard line. Check that, make it first and 10. Winslow motion. Fouts to pass. Going for it. West 10, Chandler with 3 defenders around him comes down with the football. John Swain, first time around he picked on Willie Teal. This time around he picks on John Swain.
Just a tremendous ball player when you stop to think of all the things that this man does. Runs with the football, he decoys it, and he makes this. Great catches in front of defensive back, around defensive back, total concentration on the football. What a deal that brought Wes Chandler here.
Wes Chandler involved in the celebrated trade with John Jefferson. Banershka tacks on the point after, and with 2:05 to play in the first period, the Chargers are rolling. 2 touchdown passes from Dan Fouts to Wes Chandler, and San Diego out to a 14-3 lead.
Once again, Fouts in the scoring zone finds Chandler. San Diego 14, Minnesota 3. We'll be back.
Darren Nelson set to receive Rolf Banershka's kickoff here. 2:05 to play in the first quarter. Nelson, who led the Vikings a year ago, kickoff return yardage, rushing and receiving. And Banershka lets it fly. And it is taken at the 8-yard line by Alan Rice, the rookie out of Baylor, and oh, is he nailed by Woody Lowe at the 18-yard line.
Here's what you look for when you're covering kicks. Tenacity. There's Alan Rice. Now he's a rookie too. He's going to get his introduction into the National Football League. Bang! Oh, around the neck, and he ropes him down like a cat.
Woody Lowe borrowing a page from Hank Bauer's playbook, of course, when he was the special teams headhunter for the San Diego Chargers. Bauer now an assistant special teams coach with the Chargers. First and 10, Vikings from their own 17. They are down 14-3. Sammy White in motion. Kramer. Hit. Gets rid of the football. Is it picked off or not? No, it is not. Woody Lowe had a chance to pick it off on his back and could not hold on.
Woody Lowe and Lyndon King, the 2 outside linebackers of the San Diego Chargers, have come under a lot of criticism. They are fighting for their professional lives. Look at the pass protection. Pressure on Kramer. He's not going to like that. Hurts awfully bad when you get thrown down on the artificial surface like that.
Yeah, Keith Ferguson, not a small man, 6'5", 259. Woody Lowe, 228 pounds. Kramer now on 2nd and 10 from the 18. The pitch near side, that's Nelson. And the Chargers run him out of bounds at the 24-yard line, and that is Mike Green. What a find Mike Green was a year ago for this Chargers organization. A 9th-round draft choice out of Oklahoma State.
Darren Nelson making noises here in Minnesota. He says, look, I don't want to be a pass catcher. I don't want to be a wide receiver. I want to be a running back. It says RB behind my name. Give me the football. Let me run. I want to show you that I can be better than Marcus Allen and all of the other guys that came out in the draft with me. He's going to get a chance to do that.
We are getting superb field-level audio. Let's listen to the hitting. What it is all about in this league. Mike Jones on the reverse. Outstanding block from the pulling guard from the left side, Curtis Rouse. Mike Green sniffed it out, but not before the Vikings have a first down.
And pulling guard, maybe we should say pulling house, Curtis Rouse, 6'3", 325 pounds, the biggest man in the National Football League.
But the word is he can play at that weight. He fires out very, very well. Not particularly effective as a pass blocker, but superb in a running situation. First and 10 from their own 31. In motion, that's the tight end, Jordan. The pitch comes to the near side. That is Brown. He's to the 33-yard line and gets no more. Andre Young, the strong safety, knocks him down.
Number 68. In the center of your screen, right there. That's Rouse. 325 pounds. Get up, my man.
They put numerals on that man, Reggie. He's a condominium. 34 seconds to play in the first quarter. There's the man of whom we speak, Curtis Rouse, out of Chattanooga. Nelson and Brown are the setbacks. the 39-yard line. That is Ted Brown. Boy, you go back a year ago, Reggie, remember the game he had against the Packers, 179 yards.
I'll tell you who's impressing me right now, and that's Tommy Kramer. He has not panicked, Phil. He's 14-3 down, and he is sticking with the game plan. He is utilizing Brown. He is utilizing Nelson. And that's what's important about having an experienced guy at quarterback who doesn't panic when he gets behind.
Tommy Kramer in his 9th year will trot to the near sideline to discuss things with Les Steckel. First quarter is over. 14-3, San Diego. Don Coryell on the middle of your screen. His Chargers up 14-3. Reggie, the Chargers blown out on their last preseason game. The Rams walloped them 47-14. Minnesota Vikings shut out 31-0 by the Cardinals. I've got to feel that is not the tempo you want to set for your players.
But on the other hand, Phil, it means nothing. The preseason is just a time to get ready. Veteran players know that. The rookies, they're fighting for their lives, so it's a different story.
I disagree, and I'll tell you why in a minute.
Okay.
3rd down and 1 from the 40-yard line. That's Jordan, the tight end. The pitch to the near side. Ted Brown stopped shy of the first down. And the reason I disagree is if I were a player, I would want to be up to speed. For example, Les Steckel played all rookies and first-year men his last game. The veterans felt they wanted to get in there and start feeling comfortable with themselves. They never got that opportunity.
Well, speaking of Les Steckel, there he is, a bit demonstrative about picking up that first down, which they didn't do. But, Phil, it's just that veteran players know when things count. They start now. They don't count 2 and 3 weeks ago. And you'd be surprised how the adrenaline begins to flow when you play for real.
All right. I'll buy that. Greg Coleman. Good rush. Gets a good punt off. That's the little train near the sideline. It is out of bounds at the 9-yard line. Good punt by Greg Coleman. The Chargers backed up inside their own 10. When we come back, San Diego will have the football 91 yards away. The officials spot the ball at the 15-yard line. Greg Coleman doing what he does best, putting the ball out of bounds inside the 20.
Well, he was a teammate of mine for a while at Cleveland, and the reason we kept Coleman was the fact that he could put the ball out of bounds inside the 20 better than anyone we'd ever had.
Fouts. Going the safe pattern to Charlie Joyner, who only needs 19 yards to reach 10,000 yards in his playing career. Only 3 have done that. Let's go to New York for this update.
At RFK Stadium, the defending NFC champions have tied it up against the Dolphins. John Riggins from the 1 behind that big Redskin offensive line. It is 7-7. First meeting for these two teams since Super Bowl 17.
Thank you, Bill McAtee. Right here at Minneapolis, it is 2nd down and 3. That is Muncie. He's got the first down, drops the football, but it is out of bounds. San Diego, a first down across the 25-yard line near the 27.
Well, that's a problem that Chuck Muncie has had over the years. No one questions the great ability of Chuck Muncie. Around the outside, the big guy turns on the speed, but whoops, there it goes. Puts it on the ground.
Tommy Hannon is the guy that sprung the ball loose, but no damage done. A first down for the Chargers.
Once you make that move, once you make that fumble and let that ball go, you start thinking about it for the rest of the game, Phil.
About short drop. Ball is popped up. Bobby Duckworth, 3rd year out of Arkansas. Tommy Hannon right on Bobby.
Let me tell you why that play did not succeed. Duckworth, who they would like to give more playing time to, does not run the maximum depth on routes. You see, he's not deep enough. Therefore, the defensive back is already there, and he interrupts the play, and Fouts is not going to like that because it upset his timing.
So it is 2nd down and 10. Wes Chandler coming to the bottom of your screen. Charlie Joyner to the top. That's Sievers in motion, now reverses himself. Muncie flares. Fouts goes to Chuck. Oh, what a catch. The ball thrown behind Muncie. He reaches up and with fly paper on his hands comes down with the football.
Chuck Muncie continues to do all of the things that you would expect from an outstanding back. Fouts is looking downfield. He cannot find his primary receiver, so he goes to the safety valve. That's the guy that's just lurking out there in the flat, waiting for something to happen, and Chuck Muncie makes a lot of things happen.
John Swain takes him out of bounds. A gain to the 35-yard line. It is 3rd down and 3. Crowd 62,000 on here at the Metrodome. Ernest Jackson is now the setback. Fouts with for time. Now unloads. Winslow has it knocked away. A great hit by the strong safety Tommy Hannon. What a hit on Winslow.
You want to play wide receiver or tight end in the National Football League? It's a glorious position and a great living. But, my friends, unless you want to be able to handle this type of thing, go sell shoes or something. Watch this. Here comes Tommy Hannon. Bang, right in the face. You got to be thinking about that if you're killing Winslow.
For the first time in this ball game, Maury Buford is on to kick it away for San Diego. He only kicked it away 63 times last year. That was the fewest punts in the National Football League. It was a good punt, out of bounds at the 31-yard line. So the Vikings will start with decent field position. Clock stops, 12 minutes, 58 seconds to play. And the first half here at Minnesota, San Diego on the strength of 2 Dan Fouts passes to Wes Chandler lead this one 14-3. 12 minutes and 58 seconds to play here in the first half. Bill Stone along with Reggie Rucker here at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. And San Diego with 2 first-quarter touchdown passes to Wes Chandler. The Chargers opened the game with the flea flicker and took it on in from there. For the Minnesota Vikings, here's a ball club, Reggie, that came into this ball game knowing that they had big problems on their offensive line.
Well, they've got a lot of people playing out of position. Curtis Rouse playing guard. He should be a tackle. Jim Huff, Terry Tausch. Patchwork offensive line. They're doing the very best they can.
That is Nelson. Sweep left. Across the 38-yard line, out near the 39. He'll be shy of the first down. Mike Green knocked him out.
Well, Minnesota will not beat the Chargers utilizing that type of attack. If they do not get the ball downfield, then they will not beat the Chargers running the football.
2nd down and 2 now from the 38. Again, it is Ted Brown and Darren Nelson, the running back. Wide receivers, Sammy White, Kerry LeCount. Nelson, a first down at the 45-yard line. Phil Bird knocks him down. Today's game is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Express Mail Service from the post office. We deliver excellence for less. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade is thirst aid for that deep down body thirst. Darren Nelson has left the ball game. Ted Brown, the only running back. LeCount to the bottom of your screen. Sammy White to the top. On 1st and 10. Brown to midfield, across midfield into Charger territory at the 48. And oh, what a block by Terry Tausch. Andre Young with help from Billy Ray Smith knocked him down.
When I said that the Minnesota Vikings will not beat the San Diego Chargers running the football, that is because in pro football, you have to run to control the football game, but you have to pass to win it.
Second down and 4 now. Ball spotted at the 49-yard line. Play action. Kramer looking. Now pressure. Oh, releases it to Ted Brown, and he cannot hold on. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended solely for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Minnesota Vikings and the NFL is prohibited. Miami and Washington deadlocked at 7 apiece, as you saw a few moments ago from Bill McAtee.
Charlie Jones and Bob Bricia during that game. Great game.
They're seeing a good one. Detroit leading San Francisco 10-7 now at the Silverdome in Pontiac. Here in Minneapolis, it is 14-3 San Diego. That is Sammy White in motion. Kramer on 3rd and 4. Airs it out. It is picked off. Andre Young to the 49-yard line, and he's still going. The ball popped up. Gilbert came down with it, and the Vikings have the ball.
With the result being a 1-yard gain for the Minnesota Vikings.
And you believe that? Andre Young had the football.
Well, here's Tommy Kramer looking deep, and you can see the congestion working on the outside receivers of the Vikings as Andre Young is right there to make this play. He takes a good shot right here. The ball becomes loose, and he just bubbles it up in the air. I wonder if he were not down with his elbow.
Yeah, I'd certainly like to see that one again. It appeared as if perhaps Young was already down.
I think that's one that the officials may have missed, Bill.
Now the Vikings have the ball. It is 1st and 10 now at their own 47-yard line. That's Jones in motion. There's the reverse. And the Chargers stiff it out. The ball is down, and it's still loose. And the Vikings have recovered their own fumble. So Mike Jones and Andre Young of the Chargers trying to play giveaway here with 10:47 to play in the second quarter.
The play was ill-conceived to begin with. They've already run this play once in the first half. The Chargers are expecting it now. Jones lets the ball go as Woody Lowe grabs a hold of the elbow of Jones, and the ball comes loose. And there's that mad scramble. You don't want to be down there if you're smart.
Well, Les Steckel told me yesterday, we sat for an hour and discussed game strategy. He would try to reverse the Chargers out near midfield whenever he could. San Diego now with 5 defensive backs on 2nd and 15.
A little bit of inexperience by the young coach.
Kramer looking deep, comes sideline. Oh, what a bit of defensive work. That is Danny Walters, a man who was beaten last year repeatedly, but a man who also had 7 interceptions in 1983.
That's right.
Gambling defensive back.
He learned while he earned last year, and he had 7 interceptions. And the Chargers drafted Marcy Cade from Texas, #1 in the draft. He's a holdout. We're unable to sign him. I think they were thinking about playing Walters at one corner, Cade on the other side, and moving Gilbert inside. As you saw in that replay, Walters has excellent reaction to the football.
Well, for the Chargers, the 84 draft did not turn out like they had hoped. As you said, Marcy Cade, a holdout. Mike Windley, a second rounder, out for the season with a fractured knee. 3rd down and 15. Kramer going for the ball to Wax. And again, it is knocked away, and a flag goes down. Reuben Henderson, the nickelback, whistled for pass interference on Leo Lewis.
The Vikings are now trying to stretch the coverage of the San Diego Chargers. See, look at the coverage system. The coverage is back. You see the Vikings running underneath and in the zones. He just does not hold on to that ball. That was a close play. Reuben Henderson making the tackle.
A second pass interference call against San Diego. A 1st down. Ball spotted at the 38-yard line of the Chargers. Minnesota doing a fine job up front for Tommy Kramer, Reggie, with that patched-up line you spoke of a few moments ago. Alan Weiss, the rookie running back, number 36, has now joined Ted Brown in the backfield. Brown in motion. Rice sprints out. The pass to the rookie is too high. Oh, does Rice take a hit from Lyndon King? Lyndon welcoming Rice to the NFL. Clock stops, 9:58 to play, first half, 14-3 San Diego over Minnesota.
Kramer is just a bit unsettled right now. He's moving around a little too much in the pocket. He's not confident of exactly what he's doing, and he looks unstable.
Well, we talked about San Diego's first-round draft choice not being here, a holdout. The Minnesota Vikings are also without their first-round choice. Washington State, the big defensive end, Keith Millard, decided to head for the USFL's Jacksonville Bulls rather than the Metrodome of Minneapolis. 2 tight ends now for Minnesota, Jordan and Hasselbeck. 2nd and 10. Got a man wide open, and trying to hold on is Don Hasselbeck, and he cannot do so. Woody Lowe all over him. Again, to update you, Miami, Washington. That score remains 7-all, 2nd quarter. Detroit still leading the Niners by 3 in the 2nd period in Detroit. Look at this one. The Giants over Philadelphia 14-6. Bill Sims, a couple of touchdown passes in that one. And New England beginning to lay it on the Bills 21-0 in the 2nd quarter at Rich Stadium.
New England probably has as outstanding a team of talent as any club in the league.
3rd down and 10. The Chargers with 5 defensive backs. Long count. Here come the backers. Kramer picks it up and goes deep. It is overthrown. The tight end, Steve Jordan, the intended receiver at the San Diego 14-yard line, and Miles McPherson.
Take a look at this Miles McPherson. He is a hitter. He has been hurling his body all over that secondary, flying at people, flashing in the face. Very aggressive young man, and I think that is where the Chargers will improve, just in the fact that they're beginning to hit people.
I'm surprised McPherson's even playing today. Banged up a knee Friday during practice in San Diego. Was not expected to play. Greg Coleman is on to kick it away from Minnesota on 4th and 10. Lionel James back at his own 10-yard line. Coleman bobbles it. He's going to try and go for it.
Yes,
He is in big trouble. Billy Ray Smith penetrated well, knocked Coleman down at the 40-yard line. Greg and I talked yesterday about San Diego's punt coverage team, Reggie, and Coleman told me he felt that the Vikings could exploit that punt team.
Well, they won't do it with Greg Coleman running the football. Even though he runs the 40 in about a 4.4, he does not have the experience to handle an open field situation like this. He'll have to get rid of the ball somehow next time. We'll be back.
9 minutes, 40 seconds to play in the 2nd period here at the Metrodome in Minnesota. 14-3 San Diego. And they have the ball in excellent field position at their own 40-yard line following the tackle of Greg Coleman on an attempted punt. Fouts once more. Lets it fly. That's the little guy, Charlie Joyner, to the 40-yard line. Joyner now over the 10,000-yard plateau. Only 3 players in the National Football League have ever accomplished it. Guys by the name of Don Maynard, Harold Jackson, and Lance Allworth.
This is a masterful pattern by the master himself. Watch how he works off that linebacker, and Fouts waits on him like he knows he should. Charlie Joyner, 4th leading receiver in the history of pro football in terms of yardage. What a milestone.
16th year, Reggie, out of Grambling. First down, that's Muncie. And he's got nowhere to go. That is Charlie Johnson, the nose tackle, 8th year out of Colorado. Great story about Charlie Johnson. During the Ironman competition that Les Steckel had imposed, sort of a Marine Corps type of drill during training camp. He was up all night walking the dormitory hall, scared to death. Met Ricky Young, the former running back here in Minnesota, in the hallway. He, too, shaken like a leaf. Second down now and 12 from the 42. That's Severs in motion. Incomplete pass, no fumble. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
KCST-TV, San Diego.
8 minutes, 19 seconds to play here in Minnesota. It is 14-3 San Diego. Bill Stone along with Reggie Rucker. And we have seen an explosive offense from the San Diego Chargers, which one fully expects to see week in and week out. A lot of shifting by San Diego. Muncie the lone setback. That's Charlie Joyner in motion. Caught by Winslow. Scott Studwell and Dennis Johnson all over Kellen.
The surprising thing about this play, Phil, is that an obvious passing situation, 3rd down and 11, the Minnesota Vikings did not go to a nickel defense. They did not bring the extra coverage people in, and therefore Winslow is working on linebackers. They can't handle him.
Well, it is 4th down now and less than a yard. Miami out in front of Washington now, 14-10. Pete Johnson, 270 pounds, the up back, and look for him to get the football. It's Muncie. Jumping, and does not get it, and listen to the crowd.
These folks here at Minneapolis Metrodome really appreciate the outstanding play of John Swain. 6'1", 190 pounds, yet he came up and took on the 268-pound leading fullback Pete Johnson.
So the Vikings will take the football at their own 33-yard line as the clock stops with 7:27 to play. Tommy Kramer on the field trying to find a way to penetrate the San Diego defense. San Diego on top 14-3. Tommy Kramer and company still trying to find a way to exploit this San Diego defense.
Let's take a look at this. You've got 270-pound Pete Johnson lead blocking here. Why don't you give him the ball? That's why you brought him here. He scored 14 touchdowns a year ago.
The Vikings with the football. Double tight end, a give near side. Ted Brown out across the 37-yard line where Lyndon King rolls him down. Good block by Mike Malarkey, the tight end, second year out of Gator country.
Well, in defense of Tommy Kramer's passing statistics here this afternoon, he has had 3 drops on him so far in this ball game, and they've come at crucial opportunities because they could have kept drives going.
And there you see his numbers. Kramer with 3 completions for a grand total of 24 yards. Fouts already in mid-season form. 2nd down and 4 from the 39. Again, that's Brown. Tries the left side, has a 1st down and more. Near the 46-yard line before Mike Green drags him down with help from Miles McPherson.
See, this is where we can start to talk about all of this Iron Man stuff that Les Steckel instituted this year, the Get Tough policy, and all of those things that I think are foreign to professional football that do not really indicate the measure or the effectiveness of a team. And I assure you that the Chargers do not have that same type of regimen, yet they're up in this ball game.
Dwight Collins, wide receiver number 84, is at the bottom of your screen. On 1st and 10, Kramer, the give is to Darren Nelson. He tries to turn the corner, and the Chargers are right there, leading the way Bill Elko, with help from Gil Bird. Bird coming back, Reggie, from a back injury he suffered in the 5th week of the season. And here's a guy, I'm talking about number 22, second year out of San Jose State, who played all the way to the 14th week with that bad back. A gutsy rookie at the time.
Well, he's the young man that I think that they would like to put inside Tom Bass, defensive coordinator for San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on that man right there this year. When he came over from Tampa Bay, the Chargers expected big changes in the defense. Now, they have not seen those changes. Play action, Kramer. Oh. Jordan, the tight end, was trying to drop back behind the line and wait for the screen, a tight end screen to develop, and he hung up his spikes.
Well, you can believe that there's no one pulling harder for the defense of the San Diego Chargers than that man right there, Tom Bass, because his job could, well, quite frankly, be on the line. He's been expected to produce. He hasn't. Time's running short on Tom Bass.
Well, in Bass's first year in defensive, Tom, was the NFL strike season. He said he was just beginning to implement the changeover from the 4-3 to the 3-4, and the players all took a hike. When they came back, they never fully embraced what he was trying to teach them. So it is 3rd down now and 9 for Soda. That's Sammy White in motion. Little inside handoff to Brown. He zigzags his way east and west to the 47-yard line. Andre Young and Woody Lowe shut it down, shy of the 1st down.
The Minnesota Vikings have to be careful not to try to be too cute, not to try to be impressive. They're out here to win a football game. They are not doing the things right now that would indicate that they can beat the San Diego Chargers.
From the 47, Greg Coleman is back on. You can bet he will not try to attempt what he tried a few moments ago, and that is run with the football.
Well, he's the finest inside the 20 kicker, or one of the finest inside the kicker in 20s in the league. He finished third a year ago, as a matter of fact, with 28 kicks out inside the 20.
James, the only man back for San Diego. Coleman booms it. James will have a return, I believe. No. Oh, look at that one. Out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. And for the second time in this ball game, Coleman sails it out inside the Chargers 20. 4 minutes, 24 seconds to play. San Diego will have the football 90 yards away. They lead it here in Minneapolis, 14-3.
Crazy George, Minnesota mascot. Usually when the Minnesota Vikings are ahead, he has this crowd in a frenzy. Of course, the San Diego Chargers have the Minnesota Vikings in a frenzy.
San Diego with the football inside their own 10-yard line. First down. Muncie has the ball. And out leading the way is Sam Clapham. And Muncie is knocked out at the 15-yard line. Big number 77, Clapham, in his 4th year out of Oklahoma State, trying to fill some pretty big shoes as left tackle. Left by Billy Shields, who was traded to the Vikings about 2 weeks ago and who has yet failed to report.
Sam Clapham is a full-blooded Cherokee Indian.
Scores around the league. Miami continues to lead the Redskins 14-10. Atlanta leading the Saints 19-14 at the Superdome in New Orleans. 14-3 here in Minneapolis. Fouts on 2nd and 6. Safe pass to Muncie. Tries to take it inside and crosses the 15-yard line near the 16. Chuck Muncie saw very little preseason activity, Reggie.
Well, with the work he has to take during the season, I don't blame him for not playing Chuck a lot. He takes a lot of punishment because he's a big guy, 6'4", 230 pounds. He does not go down easily, and he's a good target to hit.
Bobby Duckworth is in the ball game as one wide out. Wes Chandler, the other wide out, and Charlie Joyner's in there, and the give is to Muncie. And he is short of the first down. Tommy Hannon, a strong safety, cut his legs out from under him.
Bill, the one area where the Minnesota Vikings will benefit from that hard line approach to football that left tackle has is possibly defensively, because defensive players can utilize that type of training more so than offensive players. And you just saw an example of how they can do that right there by solidifying themselves at the point of attack.
Maury Buford is on his second punt of the afternoon for the Chargers. Back deep is Darren Nelson. Good snap, all the time in the world, and Buford, oh, he lets it sail at the 32-yard line. Nelson for the 42, a 10-yard return, and he is hammered there.
Nelson is what we call a dancer, but he needs some music to dance with. And the Minnesota Vikings haven't given him anywhere to run, either from the line of scrimmage or on kick return.
So the Vikings down 14-3. Here's a club, Reggie, that finished 1-3 in the preseason. Outscored in their last 3 preseason games by a bundle. And you have to wonder if early on here in 1984 they will continue to struggle as you look at Crazy George on hand here for the season opener in Minnesota.
I see why they call him Crazy.
Set up. Second time he has done that today. Keep in mind, Kramer is working with a converted offensive guard in Jimmy Huff. Dennis Swilley was the center here for the past 5 or 6 years.
Well, Tommy Kramer isn't exactly on Broadway, because with this opening, he'd be embarrassed.
A A loss of 5, 2nd and 15. Clock runs. 2 minutes, 32 seconds to play. Kramer waiting for a play on the sideline. Steve Dills is flashing the offensive signs into the ball game. Kramer has it. Only 11 seconds left on the 30-second clock. 3 wideouts for Minnesota. In motion is Jordan. Kramer steps up, and he'll go down. Pressure, Rick Ackerman, third year out of Memphis State.
For all intents and purposes, you can say that Tommy Kramer missed an entire year of football. He did play some of the first, 2.5 games of the 1983 season. But Tommy Kramer now looks more like a rookie quarterback than he does the player with the great experience that he has.
So a timeout on the playing field. Third down and 17 for Minnesota. We'll be back. San Diego leading the Vikings 14-3.
With 2 minutes to go in the half, San Diego 14, Minnesota 3. Les Steckel has to begin to wonder about the methodology that he has used with this ball club, because with all the controversy that has surrounded this Minnesota Vikings camp, if this ball club looks this flat at this particular point, then these players are really going to have some objections to the style and the method of Les Steckel.
But I don't think you have your coach change his philosophies based on one game. Kramer on third down and 17. He's airing it out. Going for Nelson. And it is knocked away by Andre Young, the strong safety, who was running step for step with Nelson.
To get back to that point, Phil, but what can happen is that you become disorganized. You become organized, you become disoriented, you become totally unaware of what's going on in the game, and with a young coach who hasn't been this route before, we're not talking Bud Grant, who was here for 17 years. He has no previous experience to draw upon.
Fourth down, Greg Coleman is on. He will not put this one out of bounds inside the San Diego 20, you can be sure. Short kick. Takes a big bounce and goes out of bounds, and it did go out inside the 20. Oh, he just was getting it done. What a job by that man, Greg Coleman.
He's absolutely the best in the game at doing that. He does not have a great hang time, so what? He does not kick for distance, so what? But he does this very well. Coming up at halftime, NFL 84.
And there's some big games going on, and the curtain goes up here in 1984. Bob Costas and a cast of thousands in Studio 6A in New York. We'll update you with highlights on all the happenings around the NFL today. Here in Minnesota, we have got a good one. San Diego out in front of the Vikings 14-3. Fouts will put it up again. Look at all the time in the world. That's Duckworth. His first catch of the year, and he's out of bounds outside the 27-yard line.
Bobby Duckworth, one of those congestion busters we talked about at the opening of the show. Young man has terrific speed. They've been looking for a spot to put this young man into the lineup. He'll have to wait until Charlie Joyner gets all the records, though.
Reggie, would you have liked to play for the kind of offense that the Chargers employ?
I'd be down there with them and not up here with you.
You might still be playing, huh? Look at those stats. Fouts, 13 completions, 157, and 2 touches. Fouts all the time in the world. Cool, calm, release to Chuck Muncie on a crossing pattern. He's out at the 37-yard line. Fred McNeil encourages him to head for the stripe.
Now, you can expect the Minnesota Vikings to play this way right now. There's 1 minute, 30 seconds left to go in the half, and with Minnesota ahead 14-3, the Minnesota Vikings do not want to give another score of any kind, so they're laying back and they're allowing the Chargers to get the small yardage.
Second down and 2. That's Muncie inside. He's got the first down across the 40. Mike Mullaney, 10th year out of Colorado State. Mullaney coming back from that severely broken collarbone a year ago.
Oh, the 3 people in professional football a year ago Coryell expecting a score that could utilize the 2-minute drill better than anyone else was Fouts, Anderson, and Sipe. Sipe is gone. You got Fouts now.
Dan threading the needle to Wes Chandler at the 43-yard line. And a timeout is called by San Diego. San Diego's offensive line, Clapham, Wilkerson, Drew Gissinger, Dennis McKnight, and Ed White. You cannot say enough about what that unit does for this Chargers offense. It is so easy to overlook the men in the trenches. We'll be back. San Diego utilizing its first of 3 timeouts here in the first half. Fouts trots back on from the 43-yard line. The Chargers will try and add to that 14-3 score. Reggie?
With roughly 1 minute to go in the half and 2 timeouts, the Chargers can utilize their entire offense. They will hit the pass down the middle, and they will get as much yardage as possible, and Fouts will control the timeout.
Keep your eyes on number 18. Flag is down. There's the release to Chuck Muncie, and I think they're going to get Charlie Joyner for movement on the offensive line.
Usually when you're the intended receiver, you get so anxious out of the huddle and at the line of scrimmage, even for a 16-year veteran, that you move just before you should. Let's see if it's on Joyner.
Now the initial indication, it is against Mark Mullaney, and it is against the Vikings.
Still first down.
Mark Mullaney there. Sorry, Charlie, it wasn't you.
Now the second half of our NFL doubleheader today, the Raiders and the Houston Oilers will lock up at the Astrodome. Certainly want you to be a part of that action. That should be a good one.
Don't forget, coming up at halftime, NFL 84. Scores and highlights.
Fouts sideline, goes up, pass interference, no. Chandler thought he might get it. His heel put his hand on Chandler's shoulder. Clock stops with 48 seconds to play.
That's a very comfortable way to do it. Put one hand on the receiver and knock the ball down with the other hand. Wes Chandler probably won't agree to that, but he's had a fine ball game so far.
Yep, you'll be the judge right here.
Here's the defensive backs. They'll get into a habit of doing this. One hand on the back and one hand in front.
Well,
that's what you call having him completely covered.
That's flag time in my book. 48 seconds to play, second and 5 Chargers. Dan, 3-yard drop. There's a pitch right over the middle of Bobby Duckworth. His second catch in this ball game, and he carries the ball to the Minnesota 15.
That's why the San Diego Chargers are so awesome on offense. They've got Chandler and Joyner on the one side. They've got all of the defensive attention on that side of the field. And then they send the speedster Duckworth down on the right side, and he has a field day.
Well, it is so easy, Reggie, to overlook Bobby Duckworth when you've got the arsenal of Chandler, Joyner, the perennial All-Pro, Kellen Winslow, Chuck Muncie. Now you've got Pete Johnson and, of course, Dan Fouts, who every time he steps on the field seems to set some sort of team or NFL record. Dan, today, his numbers impressive. 14 of 20, close to 200 yards, a couple of touchdowns. And Bobby Duckworth, in only his 3rd year out of Razorback country, 21 yards per catch average a year ago. That's up in Lofton's category.
Sometimes you wonder whether Fouts is saying to himself, is there another league? Because I've just about done all I can do with this one. Well, if I were in Duckworth's position here, I'd be feasting right now because I know that I'm going to get some one-on-one coverage. He makes a nice catch and he gets down, and that's the important thing. Make the catch, protect the ball, get up, get back to the huddle, make another play.
Well, Bobby got right behind the outside linebacker, Robin Sendline, and you said it earlier, the linebackers just can't keep up with the speed of these San Diego receivers. Too much weaponry.
You're asking the Minnesota linebackers to do too much. Cover the run, get back deep on the pass. They can't do it.
That's Kellen in motion. Fouts, here comes the blitz. Unloads. Winslow pushing off. And the man he pushed off on was John Swain. And the flags go down. I believe you're going to find offensive pass interference. Or will it be against John Swain?
Well, Kellen Winslow has a history of doing this being called for the offensive foul. He's such a big guy, but sometimes he also gets the superstar category treatment. Here he is looking for the ball. Swain did not have position. That's all there is to it. He just didn't have the position, and Winslow makes the officials call it on John Swain.
More often than not, that call will go against Winslow, and he made a case for himself a year ago. He thought he was being manhandled in this league. Pete Johnson is on, number 42. 270 pounds of Rock'em Sock'em. He is the upback. Johnson denied, but carries near the 1-yard line. Clock stopped, 32 seconds to play. San Diego utilizes its final timeout in the first half.
All right, here's a ground level look at this play. What you don't really like, though, with a play like this is you have no lead blocker for Pete Johnson. They're just expecting him to go in there and move people out of the way with his body.
Well, the man Johnson was trying to get out in behind was Ed White and Dennis McKnight.
But see, the point of the particular concept of the play was that they sent Muncie in motion. Now, usually in the goal line situation, what you want to do, you want to utilize all blockers. You want Muncie to lead block in there for Johnson. And they just didn't utilize Muncie in that capacity. And probably won't all year.
Well, join us next week for another NFL doubleheader here on NBC. We've got a good one today, but take a look. Start today at 12:30 p.m. Eastern with NFL 84 and host Bob Costas. Then great action begins. Our first game, some of you will see Walter Payton and the Bears host John Elway and the Denver Broncos. Then in the second half of our doubleheader, some of you will see Kurt Warner lead the Seahawks against Stan Fouts and these Chargers. Your teams play right here next Sunday on NBC Sports. And Reggie, you and I will be right there at the Astrodome in Houston as Frank Cush tries to tackle Warren Moon and the Oilers.
But don't forget, Phil, that we have another game coming up right here on NBC today.
We certainly do. That's going to be a great ball game. The Raiders and the Oilers. Seconds to play. Again, it is Johnson and Muncie. Second and goal. Johnson. Touchdown, San Diego.
Just a case of too much coming at you. Les Steckel, you got to be worried, son. Don Coryell, he's got to be happy, but he won't show it. Too much coming at you is what I mean. 270-pound fullback Pete Johnson behind Dennis McKnight and Ed White.
That right side of the Chargers offensive line doing a nice job on the nose tackle with Charlie Johnson and the inside linebacker Scott Studwell. Bonershka on. It is up, and for the third time in this ball game, Ralph Bonershka is perfect. Now the clock stops with 30 ticks remaining in the first half, and San Diego 21-3 over the Minnesota Vikings. Reggie, I go back to what I said a few moments ago about the wisdom of not playing your regulars in the final preseason game. You look at the Vikings, only 3 starters of the 22 offensive and defensive starters took part in last Saturday night's blowout at St. Louis. Tommy Kramer did not take a snap.
Well,
from what I hear, the veterans were rather upset about it.
Just remember one thing. Theories, philosophies, drills, all those things do not win games in the National Football League. It takes great talent, it takes great coaching ability, it takes great coaching experience. Les Steckel cannot be judged, obviously, from this first half. This particular football game, the first football game of the year. We cannot judge him on that. But he will learn as he goes along of what I'm talking about. There's a scoring drive for the Chargers. 8 plays, 84 yards, minute and 15 seconds. 1 yard run by Johnson, and that sort of indicates exactly what kind of scoring ability that the Chargers have.
84 yards in a minute 15. That says it all.
Quick strike ability.
Bonershka. A short kick. Alfred Anderson, the rookie, on his feet across the 20. And he is knocked down at the 26-yard line. And that is where Tommy Kramer and company will try and put something in motion with 25 seconds remaining. Down 21-3, Reggie Rucker. Do you air it out, or do you go into the locker room content to be behind by 18?
Well, you're never content to be behind, Phil, but what I think Kramer should do here is just get the clock to run out, get into the locker room, let's talk this thing over. He does not want to make a mistake right now and give up another quick score and have the game just completely out of reach.
To his tight end, Jordan. He's got the ball at the 42. Clock stops with 18 seconds to play. Carlos Bradley and Reuben Henderson on the tackles.
And that's a safe play. If you're going to use any play in your playbook at this particular time, utilize something that does not require a lot of gambling, something that you can get the ball to someone quickly and allow him to run for yardage.
Well, we have certainly talked about that man, Les Steckel, and what he has tried to do since taking over as head coach. He is certainly a militaristic coach. He certainly believes in some of the same philosophies that carry over in military life should also apply in professional football. I know there is a man sitting to my left, the former wide receiver with the Cleveland Browns, that has certainly not embraced those philosophies. But, Reggie, there are others who believe that proper conditioning, certainly a united attitude, there is nothing wrong with that in this league. And as Les told me yesterday, that more than anything else is what he is trying to instill in this team.
Well, you know, when I look at coaches that want to get wide receivers and skilled people to bench press 300 pounds, to run 18,000 50-yard dashes in 1 minute, that type of thing, I think about Lance Allworth and Paul Warfield, who couldn't even bench press 145 pounds. Where are they today? They're in the Hall of Fame. Could they have played for Les Steckel?
Well, more than one player has decided to call it quits or asked out of this organization because Les Steckel took over. Dennis Swilley, the center, retired. Dave Casper asked to be traded. Flag is down. Pass released. It is Ted Brown who has it, and he is out of bounds at the 44-yard line. And look for offensive holding, possibly against Timmy Irwin. Irwin is the one with his hands in the air.
Number 76, offense, still first down.
Now the guilty party wearing the numeral 76.
And I don't mean to be difficult as far as Les Steckel is concerned, Phil. All I'm saying is football is a journey. It's not a destination. It's not a life and death struggle. It is a sport. We must keep that in mind.
The Chargers, 2 penalties, 53 yards. Penalties have certainly not been a factor in this ball game, Reggie, nor have turnovers. It has been the potency of the San Diego offense and the superb defense by the Chargers. Kramer steps up, releases. That's Terry LeCount at the 44. And the Chargers will give him the underneath stuff all day long in this situation.
Well, they have their prevent defense, and they only have 3 defensive people rushing the quarterback. There are 8 defenders in the secondary, and the objective of the deep people is never let the opposition get beyond you.
Kramer back in the huddle. San Diego making some changes defensively. As impressed as you have to be with the San Diego offense early on here in the first half, you have to be equally impressed with the defensive unit, allowing the Vikings just 3 points here through almost 30 minutes of play. Kramer will simply throw the ball up here. He's got 3 wide receivers on one side. Up in the air and out of bounds. Time expires. And the halftime score, the San Diego Chargers 21, the Minnesota Vikings 3.
Well, it's been a game in which the Chargers have looked very impressive offensively, but equally impressive has been the fact that their defense has looked good.
Well, that's the end of the first half. There you see the damages. San Diego 21, the Minnesota Vikings 3. Made $10.
How do you give a guy that makes $500,000 a dollar?
We're set to go. Stenerud will kick it away. Back deep, Ernest Jackson and Lionel James. It'll be the little train at the 3-yard line, and here he comes. A across the 20 out near the 23. So the Chargers will take control of the football here to begin the third quarter. It'll be Fouts, Muncie, Johnson in the backfield. His receivers, Joyner, Chandler, and Winslow. The offensive line, Clapham, Doug Wilkerson, Drew Gissinger, Dennis McKnight, and Big Ed White in his 16th year out of California.
Doug Martin, Charlie Johnson, and Mark Mulaney, the front three. Steinlen, Johnson, Sutwell, and McNeil, the linebackers. Swain, Hannon, Browner, and Teal, the defensive back.
That's Chandler. Fouts looks downfield. Comes near side. There's Joyner at the 28-yard line, and the flag is down. John Swain on the hit. And it'll be against San Diego. So the first play of the second half will go against the Chargers.
Now watch, one official.
Interference, number 18, offense, still first down.
One official gives the call, and the other official walks it off. That saves time over the course of the game, and as we told you in the first half, that was suggested by Ted Nathanson.
Our coordinating producer of NFL football here on NBC in an effort to really speed up the football games.
We want to bring you the action, folks.
First down and 20 now. That's Sievers, the tight end. Draw play. There's Muncie. Look at him cut. Across the 20, still on his feet near the 24-yard line. He is finally dragged down by Joey Browner in his second year out of Southern Cal. A free safety that Les Steckel and the Vikings firmly believe perhaps is the best all-around athlete in the defensive unit.
Minnesota Vikings looking for pass. When you're deep and you need yardage like the Chargers needed, they're going to play pass defense, and what better play to call than a draw play? Cross them up.
Second down and 9. Muncie picks up 11. There's a pitch. Chucker around the left side. Across the 25, out near the 30, shy of the first down. Freddie McNeil, 11th year out of Bruin country on the hit. Some concern, Reggie, as to whether McNeil can still handle the right outside spot. Robin Sendline, who was over at the left outside position today, 4th year out of Texas, was pressing McNeil very, very hard when Matt Blair went out.
Matt Blair out with a knee injury. They say that he's had this knee injury since college or high school, and you're right. Sendline would have been in there, and McNeil probably would have lost his job had Matt Blair not been hurt.
Well, Sendline has been a starter around these parts since 1977. Pardon me, McNeil. Third down and 3. Fouts, 5-yard drop. Looks one way from Muncie, wide open. Across the 47 near the midfield stripe. And Reggie, I go back to what we set up in our pregame. The congestion busters took the secondary deep and cleared everybody.
Credit the entire operation of this play to Dan Fouts. Watch Fouts. Look to the right. He looks to the left. And he's just throwing the defense off. Then he just gives the ball to Muncie. And Muncie just takes off running.
And again, it goes back to what you addressed in the second period. You're asking a linebacker to cover the run and to cover the pass.
Well, they're in the wrong league trying to cover the big guy.
First and 10. That's Sievers in motion. Now goes to the top. Fouts. Look out. Blindsided. Kellen Winslow has the ball. Fouts is down.
Well, Dan Fouts took a spill that he does not like to take because it came from his blind side. That means he can't see the hit coming. On that side is the newest member of that offensive line, Sam Clapham. He will have to understand that you don't allow the quarterback to hit from the side in which you cannot see the runner coming from. The guy's coming on from your left side of the screen. Boom, he hits Fouts in the back. That hurts. Winslow makes the play.
Ernest Jackson, the running back. Fouts going deep. There's Bobby Duckworth. Or was he out of bounds? He is out of bounds at the 1-foot line. Now the man Duckworth beat is Joey Browner.
Bobby Duckworth, number 82. Congestion busting at his best. Watch him run right by the defense. He just has the great speed to outrun everybody. Bobby Duckworth. John Swain, pretty good speed himself, but he can't keep up with the congestion busters.
He ran right by John Swain like a stalled truck. First down and goal. The ball nosing the goal line here in Minneapolis. 12 minutes, 30 seconds to play in the third period. Pete Johnson, number 42, the upback. Muncie, the tailback. Johnson, touchdown San Diego. Johnson with his second touchdown of the afternoon. And San Diego, as they did early on in the first quarter, Reggie, has struck quickly here to open the third period of play.
Dan Fouts simply looks amazing this afternoon. He has been every bit the Dan Fouts that has just turned the entire passing theory of professional football around.
Pete Johnson, 270 pounds, has scored. Banerska on to try and make it a 28-3 game from the hold of Ed Luther. And roll 4 for 4 on the day. And that stops the clock.
There's another look at the play. The Chargers can score faster than Paul Newman in his heyday. We will be back. San Diego 23, Minnesota 3.
The Chargers, all of the offense you could want, 28-3, but it has certainly been the story of the San Diego defense today. Ralph Banerska to boot it away. Back deep is Darren Nelson standing at his own 1-yard line. And it's Anderson, the rookie, at the 2. Bangs his way out to the 17, possibly the 18-yard line. He is hammered there by Ernest Jackson. Today's game is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, simply phone your nearest BMW dealer. By Michelob, one smooth and mellow taste tells you that some things speak for themselves. And by Wheaties, big time crunch, big time treat. Wheaties, what the big boys eat.
It's Ray Preston down on the field.
Ray, in his 9th year out of Syracuse, a tough linebacker, plays behind Woody Lowe on the right outside spot. The medical staff tends to Ray Preston. We'll take a timeout. Now time back in. Ray Preston up and walking off the field under his own power. He's all right. First and 10 Vikings. Ball spotted at their own 19-yard line. They need points, and they need to get something moving quickly. Kramer. Short dump. Screen pass. That's Brown. A play that, quite frankly, Reggie never really developed. Take a look at this one. Miami now all over Washington, 35-10. Marino, 4 touchdown passes so far, and they're still in the third quarter at RFK. Detroit has come back to lead San Francisco 20-17 in the third period. There's New England. Buffalo finally on the board, 21-10 third quarter. Here in Minneapolis with 11:40 to play in the third quarter, 28-3 San Diego. Tommy Kramer wants to go deep, wide open, but it's picked off. Picked off by Andre Young.
Andre Young in an excellent position on the football field to read quarterback Tommy Kramer's every move. Pass was intended for Mike Jones. Now the Vikings are trying to bust up the congestion. That's why they're sending Jones deep. Now watch Young right in front of Jones. Reads the eyes of Tommy Kramer. Minnesota is in trouble.
Well, Les Steckel talking things over with Mike Jones, the second-year wideout from Tennessee State. Obviously a mistake, and Steckel not a happy man.
Every day, BMW presents a comprehensive report on the state of automotive technology. Not through some dry dissertation or the theoretical vacuum of a laboratory, but rather through a more appropriate vehicle, the BMW 733i. The luxury sedan that translates the intricacies of technology into that very elusive commodity called fun.
Everyone is cordially invited to a computer demonstration starring PC Junior from IBM. But what can you do with PC Junior? There are many programs for learning, word processing, filing, budgeting, planning, and more, including many business programs that run on the IBM PC. You can run over 1,000 programs with PC Junior. Now with new keyboard at a store near you.
Welcome back to the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Phil Stone along with Reggie Rucker. Thus far, it has been all San Diego. Talk about that offense, but what about this Charger defense? Are those impersonators out there?
No, the Chargers have that positive momentum going for them, and I think it's because the Minnesota Vikings have played so ineptly offensively that it has given the Chargers a sense of confidence about their congestion defense.
Is it an inept offense, or is it simply the Charger defense? We will see as this game progresses. Chargers with the football now, 1st and 10, Fouts. Once more, and he's going for his tight end, Eric Sievers. The second pass that Sievers has dropped this afternoon, uncharacteristic of that man.
There's the Giants, 21-13 over Philadelphia in the third quarter. Pittsburgh trailing Kansas City, 24-20. That's a surprise.
Yeah, they have all day long.
They've got Todd Blackledge playing quarterback for Kansas City. Green Bay 24, St. Louis 13.
Green Bay leading the Cardinals. Second down and 10, Chargers. That's Ernest Jackson. And a helmet flies off, and Ernest heads for the turf. A pickup of 4, maybe 5. Jackson, the Chargers' most effective running back during the preseason.
When I lost my helmet, this always made me feel tough. I'd say, my helmet's off, and I'm still going. Boom. I just try to protect myself as I could. As does Ernest Jackson. Keep your head out of there, buddy. You need it.
Yeah, but when your helmet flew off, could you remember where your car was parked? Third down and 5 from the 47-yard line. That is Sievers again in motion. Fouts. Quick release. Out pattern to Wes Chandler. And again, a man he beats is Willie Teal, a man who certainly lacks the great speed necessary to cover the premier wideouts in this league.
And that makes him very tentative in his coverage. This is a timing pattern. Fouts knows exactly where Chandler is going to break. You almost place your defensive back in a no-win position when you allow him to cover man-on-man on Wes Chandler on a timing pattern. You see how far he is away from the receiver? Forget it.
1st and 10, San Diego at the 35-yard line of Minnesota. 10 minutes, 41 seconds to play in the third quarter. That's Chandler. Draw play, Ernest Jackson. He ran right through Dennis Johnson. Scott Studwell finally flung him to the turf. Ernest Jackson earlier in the preseason against the 49ers, Reg, chipped the bone right under his eye. But boy, he has come back and said, the heck with that. That's like a bruise to me. I'm going to go right back on. He cinched it up, came right back and played exceptionally well the rest of the preseason.
This is a macho game. You have to play with injury.
Fouts, 2nd and 6, over the middle. Look at that, right into coverage. And the man he hits is Eric Sievers at the 25-yard line. Dennis Johnson knocked him down. Word on Ray Preston, a bruised shoulder. He will return.
It seems that when Fouts is not looking for the home run ball, he's always able to just hit that 5 or 6 yard pass that always puts him in great first down or third down position.
The thing you have to love about Fouts, so often you hear, Reggie, about quarterbacks who consistently throw into coverage. Fouts is successful in doing that more often than not. Why?
He has great pass protection, and he has a great throwing arm.
1st and 10. Watch this. Holohan, the Joyner, touchdown San Diego. Pete Holohan is going nuts at the 30-yard line.
And the Chargers have succeeded in running the playbook against the Minnesota Vikings. There's a disoriented and a very disappointed group on the sideline. Once again, here the Chargers doing something very unusual. Holohan, the tight end, who comes in a 2 tight end situation, takes a pitch out, then fires to Charlie Joyner for the touchdown.
Holohan recruited at Notre Dame after coming out of high school as a quarterback. Of course, switched to flanker as a sophomore at Notre Dame. Bonershka tacks on the point after. And Pete Holohan, Charlie Joyner. A touchdown here, stops the clock with 9:19 to play in the third quarter, and the Bluebirds are flying in the Metrodome. San Diego laying it on the Minnesota Vikings.
This is the NFL, Les Steckel, and I and my colleagues probably empathize with what you're going through. You're probably looking for Bud Grant right now, but I tell you what, he's probably gone fishing.
He's probably in that new bass boat they gave him at the start of today's game, and he is history. Charlie Joyner from the tight end, Pete Holohan. And the Chargers, certainly not noted for their gimmickry, have utilized it all today. Bonershka lets it fly to the 2-yard line. And the return is by Alan Rice, the rookie out of Baylor.
Well, what happens with a ball club when you start going downhill, it's just the opposite of positive momentum. You have a negative momentous effect. And everything in the ball game consequently starts going the other way for you. And that is what has happened with the Minnesota Vikings. They have not been stable in what they've tried to do. They've lacked the unity that you usually see in a Minnesota Viking ball club.
Chargers 35, Minnesota 3. Kramer has come back on. And the give is to Darren Nelson through the right side.
Well, we're getting a smattering of boos here from the crowd here at the Minneapolis Metrodome. And you know what's happening, Phil? The San Diego Chargers are convinced now that the Minnesota Vikings can't hurt them. There's no one on that offensive unit of the Minnesota Vikings that can either outrun the Charger defense or put them in a position where they feel threatened.
Now the Chargers going with 4 down linemen, fully realizing that Kramer is going to have to put it up. Robinson, Johnson, Rick Ackerman, and Keith Ferguson. 5 defensive backs for San Diego. That's Brown. Again, running behind Terry Tausch and Tim Irwin. Brown is out near the 20-yard line, short of the first down. Billy Ray Smith on the stop.
Well, the offensive line has played, well, pretty well for the Vikings. They've moved people out, but the problem begins when you get this far down and then you have to throw a lot. The people across the Minnesota Viking offensive front wall are going to have to get collision insurance for Tommy Kramer because they're going to just lay back from the San Diego side and come after the pass.
Brown. Not in the backfield. Kramer's got it. He tries to pass it and it's intercepted.
Here's what happens when you're in a panic-stricken situation. Ted Brown looking for some place to go. Good effort. Bounces off. Can't get away. Now you shouldn't do that. He puts him in a position to be just embarrassed. Gil Bird takes it in for an easy touchdown.
Bird had the outstanding preseason this year. His second professional interception. Bonershka is back on. And he is right on the money. San Diego 42, Minnesota 3. Clock stops again. 7 minutes, 32 seconds to play. How long will Steckel go with Tommy Kramer? Your eyes are not deceiving you. San Diego has scored just about every way possible today. 42-3 over the Vikings. That's Darren Nelson near the goal line. Trying to break something to the 25-yard line and down.
Well, this is how you diagram it in the playbook. Give it to Brown. Brown gets tackled. Toss it back to Kramer. Kramer throws an interception. Nope, that's not the way it works, folks. High-stepping Gil
for Tommy Kramer is coming back on. But I think at this point, Reggie, you would have to classify some of what we have seen by the Vikings offense as a little more than sandlot football.
Well, Joe Lewis said it so well some 40 years ago. You can run, but you sure can't hide. And Tommy Kramer has to take his medicine, as does Les Steckel. These fans are watching everything that these players do. They're looking for someone to quit. Hopefully no one will.
Take a look at that. Kramer on the day, 6 completions, 3 interceptions. Fouts, 21 completions, nearing the 300-yard mark, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Well, we've all seen Tommy Kramer in action. As a matter of fact, about 3 years ago, Kramer threw for 444 yards against this Minnesota Viking outfit. Against this San Diego Charger outfit, and it's just not his day.
There you're looking at Steve Dills, Wade Wilson. Of course, remember, when Kramer went out in the 3rd game last year against Tampa Bay, Dills came on and ran the Vikings off to a quick 4-1 mark under his tutelage. And then the wall collapsed on the Vikings and Steve Dills.
Well, this is not a Tommy Kramer solo effort here. You've got 48 other players out there on the field for the Minnesota Vikings, and they have all had a part in this, and it is not the replacement of Tommy Kramer that's going to get the Minnesota Vikings back in this football game.
No, absolutely. We have talked all day long about the offensive line of the Vikings. It is a band-aid, a patch-up line at best. That is Alfred Anderson, the rookie from Baylor. And he crashes into Reuben Henderson. And the Vikes will begin from the 21-yard line. Kramer's coming back out, and listen to the fans. The outside linebacker on the right side for San Diego, number 51, Woody Lowe, out of the game with a hip pointer. First and 10, Minnesota from their own 31. Allen Rice and Ted Brown are now the running backs. That is Rice. He coughs up the ball, an incomplete pass. Rice has touched the ball twice today, and both times he has been hammered.
As we've said, Tommy Kramer is not in this thing alone. He's had 5 passes dropped on him, and a couple when the game was at its beginning, and the outcome certainly was in doubt, and players had an opportunity to continue drives or make big plays.
You Viking fans may notice something quite different about this Minnesota team, despite the fact that they have no offense today. For the first time in the Vikings' history, they are not sporting black shoes.
Maybe they ought to go back to black.
Double pumps. Kramer comes near side. Rice has his first reception as a pro. Flag is down. A face mask on Carlos Bradley. An unintentional face mask.
Sometimes you don't get a chance to look at what happens to the quarterback after he delivers the ball. Here's Kramer faking, then he lets it go. Oh, you're just standing around. Billy Ray Smith comes in and adds a little insult to injury.
Foul number 58, defense, first down.
Yeah, Mike Green with the face mask, unintentional, a 5-yard penalty, a first down for the Vikings. It has been so easy to talk about and revel over what this offense has accomplished from San Diego, but how about this unit today, Reggie?
Well, they get a letter today for the efforts defensively.
A first down at the 45-yard line. Kramer with 4 wideouts. Missed tackle by Danny Walters. Ball pops loose and Rice recovers. Lyndon King with a pop.
Kramer's having all sorts of problems back here in the pocket. He's looking for receivers. The secondary covers well. He can't find anyone. He's running around in a pocket back there. They're slamming him to the turf. That hurts. His pride is hurt. You know, the Chargers defense a year ago allowed 30 points a game 9 times, and twice they allowed 40 points or more.
Well, they have put a game together here at the Metrodome today. Kramer now out of the eye. Second man through. Flag is down, and that is Minnesota's biggest gain from scrimmage on a running play today, and it comes from a rookie out of Baylor named Allen Rice. Penalty will be against San Diego. Let's listen.
5-yard face mask foul, number 57, defense, first down.
We told you that the defensive front of the Chargers would be just coming. They wouldn't be concerned with run. That's why the huge opening in the middle of that line. Allen Rice, outstanding prospect.
Darren Nelson, incidentally, Reggie, on the Vikings bench with ice on his elbow. 6 minutes and 2 seconds to play here in the third quarter. Tommy Kramer has gone all the way for Minnesota. Knocked down at the line. The pass intended for Ted Brown. Carlos Bradley from his left outside linebacker position, fourth year out of Wake Forest, did a beautiful job of getting in on Kramer. Well, as anybody will tell you, Reggie Rucker, it is tough to guide the ship when the wheelhouse is sinking.
That's a good one, Phil.
Kramer has been under intense pressure all day long. Second down and 10. Ted Brown has it at the 27-yard line, and he is down immediately by Lyndon King.
Well, if nothing else, Tommy Kramer is going to get a lot of valuable on-the-field time that he probably desperately needs. He probably should have gotten it a week ago, but it was an experimental process in motion last week in which Les Steckel played nothing but young players and rookies to evaluate them more carefully. Maybe he should have been playing Tommy Kramer because Kramer looks rusty.
Third down and 4 now at the Chargers' 26-yard line. Tommy will put it up. Batted down at the line. Chuck Ian, second year out of Brigham Young, 6'4", 260.
Well, you can expect the Vikings to have success if they want to run the football now. Of course, they're not going to do that because they're too far behind. But every time they go back to pass, he's going to have people in his face, just like that. Chuck Ian blocking that attempted pass by Tommy Kramer.
And speaking of Chuck Ian out of BYU, what a ball game yesterday for his alma mater, the big victory over Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh ranked number 1 in some polls.
Fourth down and 4. Vikings got to go. Crossing pattern. Up in the air to get it, and wide open was the tight end, Steve Jordan.
You just can't alibi for that type of pass by Tommy Kramer. Steve Jordan, wide open, going down the middle. Kramer, just not on target with his throw. There he is. He's got plenty of time to throw. Watch Jordan, wide open. Overthrow.
Al Jordan had beaten Miles McPherson by a couple of steps. So San Diego takes over the football at their own 26-yard line. 5:02 to play third quarter. Pete Johnson is the lone setback. Muncie has retired for the moment. Ed Luther is in at quarterback. Dan Fouts is set down. Oh, look at Johnson. Stopped at the line, spins, and moves for 5. Ed Luther in his 5th year out of San Jose State. San Francisco Now out in front of Detroit, 27-20. That game in the fourth quarter in Pontiac. Kansas City continues to lay it on the Steelers, 34-20 in the third quarter. Keep in mind, Todd Blackledge is running the Chiefs offense. Green Bay leading St. Louis. Luther, his first pass of the year. Little flare to Pete Johnson. He's got it. Runs head on into Fred McNeil, and McNeil carries him out of bounds.
They couldn't even knock the big fella down. 268 pounds from Ohio State, Pete Johnson. Amazing ability for a guy his size.
Charlie Joyner, Wes Chandler have joined Fouts and Muncie on the sidelines. Jesse Bendras, a rookie out of Alabama, 7th round draft choice, is now in at one wide receiver spot. Number 86, Bobby Duckworth, the other wide receiver. Kellen Winslow in motion. Luther, out pattern to Duckworth. It is overthrown. Double coverage there. John Swain and Tommy Hannon. So a fourth down for San Diego, and the question you have to ask is, what in the world are you doing putting the ball in the air with a 42-3 lead? Why not keep the clock running, Reggie?
Well, because you have Ed Luther and a cast of others in there who don't get a chance to play during the regular season as much, who have a chance to put some stats on the board that will count for themselves.
Here's Maury Buford, his third punt of the afternoon. Shanked it. Question is, did the ball hit a Viking? Or did it go out of bounds first? I believe it went out of bounds at the 49-yard line. Buford hangs his head and walks.
Well, the key to that missed kick by Buford was a poor drop.
Yeah.
When Buford allowed the ball to drop in his kicking motion, he dropped it poorly. The angle was bad. I don't know if you can see from that particular camera angle replay whether or not the ball did touch the white stripe, which would clearly indicate that it was out of bounds. Let's take another look at it, see if we can see it from this angle. Well, I don't see anything there. Very difficult to tell. Right between number 77 and number 25. The lower left-hand corner of this field.
Touched by the receivers, then covered by the kickers. First down.
Well, it is San Diego's ball as that replay showed it to you. An inbounds kick after a discussion with the officials. The Chargers will take the ball. Next Friday, you've got a ticket to the hottest games in town. NBC Sports presents primetime baseball. The Cubs versus the Mets, or the Angels and the White Sox. That's next Friday, primetime, right here on NBC Sports, home of the 1984 World Series. Pete Johnson bangs his way to the 38. Dennis Johnson drops him.
Well, you've gotten a look at the congestion busters, the people with the great speed on the outside and the smooth move. Now you're going to see a line buster. Pete Johnson, 268 pounds, likes to run the ball tackle to tackle. There he is, number 42. Wired from the Cincinnati Bengals, then exchanged for James Brooks.
There's Pete Johnson. Flags are down as Pete bangs his way. Look at the massive humanity.
You realize that every purple shirt is on the ground?
All 11 jerseys involved in that tackle. And it is holding against San Diego.
What do you call it, a mass of humanity?
Oh. Yeah, they'll certainly walk this one off. Reggie and the Vikings' 4 preseason games. Les Steckel told me yesterday they ran about 250 plays. They only ran a handful of them twice.
It appears as much.
Number 69, offense, still second down.
He also said they ran from 4 basic formations. They have run from 11 or 12 today. But then again, Don Coryell utilizes the same philosophy. Don't show anybody anything in the preseason.
But Coryell has a prior record that's been excellent, and Steckel's just learning the business.
Excellent point. 2nd and 17. That's Ernest Jackson in the backfield. That's Eric Sievers. Oh, is he made to pay. At the 42-yard line, Sievers gets 10 of the yards back. He is slammed by Hannon and Browner. Miami stepping it out over the Washington Redskins now 35-17. Marino 4 touchdown passes. San Francisco has broken out of a 20-20 tie. They lead the Detroit Lions 27-20. Look at that one. The Giants and Philadelphia, 1-point game there at the Meadowlands. Ed Luther at the helm. Steps up, unloads, crossing pattern. That's Holohan. And he is tripped up at the 15-yard line. Tommy Hannon tripped up Holohan. The Chargers with the first down, not content to sit on a 42-3 lead. Atlanta over New Orleans 26-21. Bartkowski with 2 touchdown passes in that one. Kansas City all over Pittsburgh 37-20. Keep in mind, Kansas City's #1 quarterback is gone. And Green Bay leading St. Louis 24-23. At one point in that ball game, it was 24-13. Ernest Jackson. Chargers opening up gaping holes for their running backs.
You know, the one thing I think is ironic, that the Chargers are featuring Holohan and Sievers. Do you think that there could be anything to that in light of the fact that Winslow has said that this will be his last football game? Now we're getting a chance to see somebody else play tight end and play it effectively.
Well, you have to wonder from a fan's point of view, certainly not from a San Diego Chargers coach's point of view or brass point of view, if maybe they are trying to impress upon Kellen in a very subtle way that we can get this job done with or without you, Mr. Winslow.
You may very well be right, Phil.
Ernest Jackson, flags go down from all angles. Fred McNeil cuts his legs out from under him. And it is against San Diego. Well, the interesting thing about the Kellen Winslow fiasco, and it is just that, is that he plays on the same team, the San Diego Chargers, a team that just 3 years ago released a wide receiver that had pretty interesting credentials by the name of John Jefferson for the same reason, for jamming them up publicly about salary. A year later, it was Fred Dean. Same thing. He was gone.
Well, the organization has a policy.
Number 63, offense, still 2nd down.
The San Diego Charger organization has a theory about contracts. They feel that this is a team game, and there are 48 other people that are on the team. They cannot begin to make exceptions even for a Kellen Winslow.
But I will tell you this. The Chargers have renegotiated players' contracts in the past, but they've done it very quietly. Draw play, fumble. Luther can't hold it. The Vikings have got it. Joey Browner could go all the way, and he will.
Joey Browner takes a page from the Minnesota Viking defenses of the past. Let's take a look at the replay here. Ernest Jackson, the rookie, getting a chance to do something here. What does he do? Puts it on the ground. There's a mad scramble here now. This is where you want to be careful if you're an Ed Luther. Quarterback should not be down around that type of pile. There's Joey Browner. He has outstanding speed. He sets sail goalward. 63 yards for a touchdown. And remember, the defense scored first for Minnesota.
Browner had one of those last year called back. He had 2 fumble recoveries in 1983. Stenerud, his first try for a point after in 1984, and he has got it. And as Reggie said, it is the defense who puts the first touchdown on the board for the Minnesota Vikings in 1984. 49 seconds remain here in the third quarter. And the score, San Diego 42, Minnesota 10. Boys, stay with us for the second half of our NFL doubleheader. Most of you will see Houston and quarterback Warren Moon making his NFL debut with the Oilers as they take on Marcus Allen and the world champion Raiders. Your teams play right here next on NBC Sports. Laugh at me if you will, Reggie. I think if the Oilers can hold on to the football today, i.e. keep away from the turnovers, they could give the Raiders a tussle today in the Astrodome.
I disagree.
All right.
I think that Warren Moon is going to see a defense that he has never seen before in his professional life. He's going to see outstanding athletic ability on the defense, where most professional clubs look to augment their offensive team with the best athletes. But the Raiders do it in their own way. They make you earn every piece of the action.
They earn it. Well, we will see Warren Moon ourselves. Reggie Rucker and I will be in Houston next Sunday. The Oilers and the Indianapolis Colts square off here on NBC. Here's Jan Stenerud, 17 years in this league, at the age of 41, the oldest active player. And the Chargers, with 7 men, right up between the 40 and 50-yard line. I'm a bit puzzled as why the Chargers don't have 9 or 10 men up. Look at the Vikes. Stenerud trying to kick for a seam, didn't get it. That's Jackson. Out across the 30 near the 32. Well, San Diego will take the football again. Look at the Chargers. Total yards 433. The Vikings 151. And last week in San Diego's final preseason tune-up, the blowout that the Rams laid on them, San Diego gave up 447 yards.
Ed Luther, now at quarterback for the San Diego Chargers. The Charger quarterbacks have not been sacked attempting to pass today.
Jackson tries to get outside, turns it in, and scoots across the 35 near the 36. Tommy Hannon cuts him down.
Well, it's no surprise that the Chargers are leading this ball game with total yardage because they've led the National Football League for the last 5 years. But it is surprising that the Minnesota Vikings are as far down as they are. Fouts on vacation for the rest of the day. Number 14 in the center of your screen.
Well, it was quite a day for that man in the middle. Dan Fouts picking up right where he left off a year ago before Dan suffered that damaging rotator cuff injury. So as clock expires here at the third quarter, Ed Luther will trot to the far sideline to talk things over with Don Coryell. The score, San Diego 42, Minnesota 10. We'll be right back to the Superdome after these messages from your local station. We've arrived at the fourth quarter of play here at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Bill Stone along with Reggie Rucker. We certainly expected the San Diego offense to put points on the board. But Reggie, as I said at the outset of our telecast, I thought the Vikings would have a decent offensive showing today. We have not seen that. That is Buford McGee, rookie out of Mississippi. He was the longest shot to make this ball club. An 11th round draft choice. Charlie Johnson, the 8th round nose tackle out of Colorado, brings him down.
San Francisco and Detroit all tied 27 in the fourth quarter. Philadelphia and the Giants. Giants up by 8 in the fourth quarter. Atlanta, New Orleans, 33-21 Atlanta.
Somewhat of a surprise without William Andrews. Some felt the Falcons would have absolutely nothing this year. That is Keith Holohan in motion. Quick dump. Severs right over the middle at the 45-yard line. He is nailed instantly by Tommy Hannon. Chargers continue to throw the football.
Probably the most important aspect of this Charger offense is their preparedness. They're well prepared. Severs quickly gets the ball from Luther, and that's the kind of thing that you expect to see from Fouts and Winslow, but the people that play behind those great stars are even well prepared.
Buford McGee will head out of this ball game. In the game goes Pete Johnson. Buford McGee was like a 4-year-old with a big lollipop when he had looked at the cut list last week and found that his name was nowhere to be found. He was ecstatic about making this ball club. Holohan again moving. That's Johnson crashing into the line near the 48.
Well, I've played basketball during the offseason with Pete Johnson in Ohio, and we have an annual Browns-Bengals basketball game, and the first thing that I was astonished by this man, Pete Johnson, at 6 feet, about 255 pounds, from a standstill, Phil, he went up and he dunked the basketball.
And keep in mind, Pete Johnson is 6 foot, 270 pounds. He is now out of the ball game. Buford McGee back in. Luther going deep. That's Bobby Duckworth. He caught it. And it is interference inside the Vikings 15-yard line. Willie Teal, beaten for a touchdown earlier in the game by Wes Chandler, handled this time around by Duckworth.
Well, the term burner is so overplayed in professional football these days. This guy has a beautiful stride.
Number 37.
Well coordinated. Once he gets at top speed, and he's really the heir apparent to Charlie Jr.
Teal has certainly had his comeuppance here in the first game of 1984, the 5th-year corner out of Louisiana State.
I think we should refer to the Vikings as a team in transition, Phil, and I think that's exactly what they are. There's a lot of road to be covered as far as this football team is concerned, and Les Steckel has his work cut out for him.
Here comes the flower. Johnson dashing his way down near the 5.
Not only does Steckel have a lot of work to do with this football team, but he's walking in the shadow of a giant in Bud Grant, and he will be constantly compared to Grant, and they will be saying for the next 2 or 3 weeks, Bud Grant would have done this, or Bud Grant would have done that. Pete Johnson doing it his way, plowing right through the middle.
And you can be certain that in the months ahead, Les Steckel, Reggie, will do things his way. I have the feeling that Steckel is the kind of an individual that will go to his coaching graveyard, believing in his basic fundamentals. Johnson cuts it inside, slides her down. Johnson scores. But look for holding against San Diego, and it is. So nullify the touchdown. Wes Chandler comes into the ball game. Bobby Duckworth checks out.
Well, given everything...
Number 62, offense, still second down.
Thank you, Dick. Given everything that the San Diego Chargers have offensively, and then you add Pete Johnson to it with his bull-like rushes through the middle of the line, San Diego Chargers are covered in all phases of the game offensively. One thing that I'm impressed with still, though, Phil, is a lot of hard hitting going on, even at this point in the football game.
Draw play to Johnson. Look at the man go. Johnson carries number 52, Dennis Johnson, on his back for 5 yards. There was a lot of talk when Johnson arrived in San Diego from Cincinnati, over and above his contract dispute initially, whether or not that man could play at that weight.
Well, the thing that he will give to the San Diego Chargers is that when the Chargers are ahead in football games now, whereas in the past they still threw the little control passes and utilized Muncie on the outside, they will have Pete Johnson to run out the clock for him, tackle to tackle.
3rd down and 9 from the 11. Again, Johnson's going to run the sweep. And he is down at the 10-yard line. That is certainly not Johnson's forte. Doug Martin and Dennis Johnson combine on 4th down at the 10-yard line. Here comes Rolf Banershka to try and add on 3 more. Al Banershka with 6 extra points today. His first field goal try of the year will come from 28 yards away. Luther's got it. He's going to throw it. Nobody in the end zone. Now you got to give Eddie Luther a lot of credit. He reacted without even thinking. Tim Irwin on the block. And for the fans that have remained, clock stops with 10:25 remaining in this ball game, and the Vikings have held. Ed Luther gets it down, and Irwin got the big hand up. We'll be back. There you see the damages. Time remaining 10:25 in the ball game. San Diego, 7 touchdowns in this ball game. Check that, 6 touchdowns in this ball game. Lead at 42-10. Alan Rice and Alfred Anderson, a pair of rookies out of Baylor. The setbacks, and the give is to Alan Rice. Today's game is being brought to you by Mazda, who invites you to experience their remarkable Mazda RX-7. By Federal Express Zap Mail, an exact copy delivered door-to-door in just 2 hours. And by Castrol, motor oil engineered for today's smaller, higher revving engines. Anderson now the lone setback. That's Mike Malarkey, the tight end, in motion. The give is to Anderson. Turns the corner and bangs out across the 24 near the 25. John Turner, the former Viking, who was in a Minnesota uniform just 2 weeks ago, brings his former teammate to the turf.
San Francisco 30, Detroit 27. That is the final. We have a player injured on the field. Looks like Mike Malarkey. The one thing about this football game that has really perplexed me, even from the very beginning when the outcome was still in doubt, was that the Vikings, a passing team, Phil, went into this ball game obviously trying to run the football.
Al Malarkey being treated by the medical staff here by the Vikings. That stops the clock. Will return to the Metrodome. The damage is 42-10 Chargers. The Minnesota Vikings care to guess the score in this one. They are nowhere close. 42-10 San Diego. And it has been Kramer all the way. That's the rookie. Alan Rice still on his feet, banging after the 34. Great lead block by Terry Fouts, third year out of Texas.
Well, apparently Steckel has decided that we're not going to panic. We can't get back into the football game. We're not going to throw the football recklessly. Let's work on our game. Hard hitting. You see Curtis Routes lead blocking on the play, the 325-pound offensive guard. And Alan Rice, the rookie with a lot of ability from Baylor, running well.
Second down and 2. Play action. Kramer unloads. Rice gets behind the linebackers, and he pays at the 42-yard line. John Turner and Miles McPherson. Now, the Vikings offense in their final 3 season games, their final 3 scored a total of 17 points. The problems have continued, Reggie, on into the regular season.
The Chargers are now sprinkling players, second-line players here and there into the defensive scheme of things, trying to get work. This Alan Rice, number 36 from Baylor, looks like a promising player.
First and 10, Minnesota. That's Anderson. Loses the football, and it's recovered by his teammate at Baylor, Alan Rice. You don't think those two play together well?
Well, speaking of being Johnny on the spot, Alan Rice wanting to hold on to that football to keep this drive intact. There's the throw once again. That's Alfred Anderson, the backfield partner in college of a year ago of Alan Rice, who recovers Anderson's fumble. Chargers have excellent pursuit today. That's one thing that I noticed this year that they weren't doing a year ago. They have people flowing to the football. They have more than 1 or 2 helmets making the tackle.
6 minute, 47 seconds to play. There's the inside counter. It is sniffed out nicely by San Diego. Chuck Ian and Rick Ackerman bring them down.
We've got some more scores for you. Miami 35-17 over Washington today.
Yeah, the Redskins led briefly in the second quarter, and that was it. Oh, look at this one, Reg. Giants by 1 over the Eagles in the fourth. And Buffalo trying to come back against the Patriots. New England at one point led that ball game 21-0. That is a final now. 21-17. New England over Buffalo.
Maybe Joe Theismann should go back to talking to the media.
There's a lot of the Redskins that have decided they're not going to talk.
Well, it was great when they were winning, and they start losing. They, blame it on the media, right?
Yeah, it's in vogue. 3rd and 1. The give is to Anderson. It will be very, very close. The nose tackle, Rick Ackerman, out of Memphis State. Knocked him back.
Of course, as far as talking to the media, I have sort of a unique look at that. I've been on the player side of it, and I understand how a player feels when he's misquoted or when something is taken out of context. And being on the journalistic side of it now in the television media, I think that I also have a perspective in that, you know, we're here to help. We're here to help, not to detract from the sport itself.
Out of the I formation, David Nelson, another rookie, now in the backfield. A rookie out of Heidelberg, David Nelson, runs headlong into Mike Green and Ken Green, no relation. Kramer has gone all the way. Reggie, you have been in games like these before as a member of the Cleveland Browns, on both the long and the short end of these games. Where do you go from here if you're the Vikings?
Well, I've been with coaches who have taken a game like this in which we lost and said, hey, I'm throwing the can away. There's nothing positive about it. We can't learn anything from it. Then I've been with coaches who wanted to go over every play in a game like this and try to point out the mistakes. I don't know. It's both objectives and both points of view have worked and both have failed. Kramer knows he's going to get it at this point. He's way behind in the score. The defensive line of the San Diego Chargers is just rushing the pass. Fred Robinson, number 90, 6'4", 240 from Miami, makes the play there.
He was a guy the Chargers gave a tryout to on Friday, I understand, and decided to bring him along to see what he could do.
Doing all right so far.
4 minutes, 26 seconds to play. Kramer will retreat again. Knocked away. Intended for Mike Jones. John Turner, his former teammate here in Minnesota, knocked the ball away.
Well, the coverage now is just one of hang back, look, see, react to the ball. If you hang the ball in a defense like this, a receiver could get hurt. There's the ball up in the air. It's a good thing they didn't go for the receiver. They went for the ball.
Well, we've talked about the Minnesota Vikings and perhaps where they will go from here in 1984. As for the Chargers, next week it is on to Seattle, and you have to believe this will be a tremendous lift for San Diego heading to the Kingdome.
Well, Chuck Knox will test the rushing defense of the San Diego Chargers.
Denerud, 52-yarder.
Club with kicks just like that during the preseason.
And he beat out a pretty good kicker to get here. Rick Danmeyer had been perfect in preseason, but when the tough decisions had to be made, it was Denerud. Well, 42-13 San Diego. The way I look at it is Denerud can get 10 more to sail through today. The Vikings win by 1.
That's cruel, Phil.
It has been a tough outing today for Les Steckel and the Minnesota Vikings. 4 minutes, 16 seconds to play. And the old-timer, Jan, is back on to kick it away. That 52-yarder a moment ago, just 1 yard shy of the Vikings team record set back in 1965 by Freddie Cox against the Green Bay Packers. San Diego has covered the onside kick attempt. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
KCST TV, San Diego.
Phil Stone and Reggie Rucker back with you. 4 minutes and 12 seconds to play. And from the outset of this ball game, it has been all San Diego.
San Diego offensively and San Diego defensively. They've been right on the money with their entire program.
Jarrell Thomas and a rookie. Buford McGee, the setbacks. And that is Jarrell. Tiptoes his way inside the 45 near the 43 before Robin Senline knocks him down with help from Fred McNeil.
Green Bay 24, St. Louis 23. There's an Atlanta score once again. 33-28 over New Orleans.
Now Bunk Phillips and company trying to come back.
When you've been as thoroughly dominant on both sides of the football as San Diego Chargers have been, there's sort of cause for euphoria. Wait a minute, folks. Don't go crazy just yet. Take a look at this same ball club a week from now against the Seattle Seahawks. Then start to make a judgment.
Counter. The give is to McGee. And he slams his way down near the 40.
And in deference to the Minnesota Vikings, we have certainly not seen the kind of football team that Minnesota really has. I think they're a much better ball club than this. I think they may be just a bit intimidated by what took place early on, and they have never recovered.
Ball spotted at the 39-yard line. Well, we have certainly chronicled the ill fortunes of the Vikings through the preseason and through the first 3 quarters of this ball game. That's Jarrell Thomas, sweep right, still on his feet, a first down at the Vikings 33. And here the Vikings, a team with a makeshift offensive line, a quarterback who did not play a great deal in the preseason and who did not play at all in the final game of the preseason. Tommy Kramer played 2.5 games back in 1983. He has got a new cast this year. This is a much, much different team than the Vikings fielded a year ago.
The appropriate thing to do here for the San Diego Chargers is to allow the clock to run out. Do not run out of bounds. Stay between the tackles. Kellen Winslow has announced that he will retire tomorrow.
We have reached the 2-minute warning. The clock stops. And the Chargers are out in front 42-13. Again this year, we're going to be treated as some of the most exciting finales from NFL history. They're called fantastic finishes, and here's one of them. Back with you at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, San Diego. Struck swiftly. And they have put points on the board all the way through this ball game. 42-13, and they are knocking on the door again. First down and 10 at the Minnesota 33-yard line. Luther at quarterback. That's Jarrell Thomas, turns it inside. Down near the turning before he is turned around. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Wiseman. Coordinating producer of football, Ted Nathanson. The telecast of today's game has been produced by Peter Rolfe, directed by John Libretto. Gentlemen, a job well done. Well, a fraction of the 62,000 who were on hand when this game began roughly 2 hours ago are now gone. Check that, 3 hours ago. That's Thomas. Shoot stepping his way down near the 27 before he is knocked down.
In a football game such as this, Phil, you're going to get an opportunity to see in Les Steckel what type of diplomat he is, because he's going to have a lot of sessions with the press. He's going to have to try to explain this disappointing opening game loss to the San Diego Chargers all week long.
And invariably, good point, Reggie, the local media, particularly perhaps the national media, will again begin to question his tactics.
That's right.
Out of the I formation now, the Chargers. On 3rd and 4, here's Thomas. Flag is down as Thomas bangs his way to the 23. Well, we've talked about Kellen Winslow. The Chargers have certainly gotten it done today. Winslow playing a very small part And you have to wonder if perhaps he's thinking about that on the far sidelines, as he, as we told you earlier, has announced his retirement from football after this game. A contract problem with San Diego, and Kellen says if it is not renegotiated, he will call it quits. But perhaps, what about the first-round draft pick for San Diego, Mossy Cade?
Mossy Cade, first-rounder from Texas, cornerback, outstanding talent, probably felt, hey, after the first game, they'll see that they need me. They'll sign me. Well, Mossy, this is a funny game, and the Chargers have done very well without Mossy Cade. I think they would like to have the young man because he's an outstanding talent, but Gilbert and Danny Walters have done an outstanding job today. We'll be back.
You want to talk about balance offensively and defensively? Look at those numbers by the Chargers. Here's Luther. The give is to Jurel Thomas on his feet down near the 30-yard line.
That should be the last play of this football game.
Clock ticking down. Well, we thought we would see a shootout by both ball clubs today. Tommy Kramer certainly has the credentials to get it done through the air. However, he had no idea he would run into a red-hot, totally prepared defensive unit by the San Diego Chargers. Coryell and the rookie head coach, the youngest head coach in the NFL, Les Steckel, in the age of 37, has learned what it is all about to be a head coach in the National Football League. Chargers in a row. We'll be back.